Howdy everyone, this is the Roaming Prepper channel. I am your host Pete. If you are new to the channel, want to thank everyone for your support over the last few weeks. And again, I still got another month or so of grad school before I'm finally done with my graduate program, and that will be done. So that would be my second graduate program. So it's never too late to go back to school to learn some new shit. As a side note, honestly, going back as a grown adult with experience, the classes made so much more sense because I look at actual operations I've gone through and go, oh, that's why they priced it that way. That's why the cost was such, so you learn stuff. But anyway, I digress. Today's topic, worse than martial law. Yes, worse than martial law. Something is actually, in my opinion, worse than that. So what am I talking about? So the country of Haiti is about to experience something I think is worse than martial law. So Eric Prince is a former special operations guy from the United States, and he was one of the founders and probably the better known founder of the private military contracting group, PMC company, or private military corporation, known as Blackwater. And you remember Blackwater got into a little bit of shady shit back in Iraq. Ultimately, they disbanded the company, they shut it down, they split off, and each of the segments does different things. Some do VIP protection, some do location security, some do infrastructure, and they're different companies. But in any case, Eric himself, apparently, according to a recent article I saw in The Guardian as well as in MSNBC, is being contracted by the government of Haiti, the new interim government, to quote-unquote conduct kinetic and lethal operations against gangs that are to overrun the city. Unquote. And that is kind of horrifying when you think about it. Let's think about that for a second. You now have a non-elected paramilitary, highly trained and obviously well-equipped combat entity going into urban and suburban and rural areas to deal with whatever illegalities they see. Now, is it necessary? In a case like Haiti, it may be. If those of you who follow my situation report on Mondays, you will know that Haiti has been a shit show. The gangs have overtaken large portions of the country. There's rapes, murders, trafficking of children, trafficking of drugs, weapons trafficking, basically everything and anything under the sun. It is literally the Wild West with no sheriffs, no marshals, and no John Wayne. And the people are suffering. People are dying, if not from violence, from rape, from lack of food, from lack of hygiene, water, disease, you name it. And the government can't bring assets in because, much like Gaza Strip, the bad guys are taking it all. And the innocents are getting fucked. So, in desperation, they're having Mr. Prince put together an entity of his guys who are probably going to be a lot of ex-Blackwater, JSOC, SOCOM, some of you older soldiers, the SOG, MACV types. We're going to go in there and going to light up everything. Now, is that a good thing for Haiti? Probably, because it's gotten to that point. But imagine that happening in the US or Canada or Mexico, where the government has collapsed or something has happened such that the normal military and police not only are struggling to maintain control of certain infrastructure, have lost control of entire sections of the country and have had to withdraw to safer sections that they could defend. And you need a solution. This is what happens. Corporations, ranches, and nations will employ essentially mercenaries. Now, you think this is new. No, it's not. Remember George Washington going across the river in Valley Forge. The guys he was attacking were not the British. They were the Hessians. They were contract for hire Austrian and Prussian soldiers, professional soldiers. And Washington knew that if he didn't take them out of the game between them and the British, they were going to do a lot of harm to the revolutionaries. So he went across the river in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve and attacked their encampment, captured their commanders, tore up the camp, took their weapons and the whole 9 yards. So yeah, the Brits hired guns to control the colonies. By the same token, we've done it in Iraq. We hired Blackwater, there you go, to control certain aspects of society. And this is what they're dealing with. But think about that. This is an extra-judicial, extra-legislative entity. What are the rules of engagement? What are the crossfires? How are they going to vet people? It's going to be ugly. They're going to get gunslingers from all over the world who have competency to deal with these gangs, and it's going to get horrendous for the gangs. But I fear a lot of innocents may get caught in the crossfire. Now again, this is a very small thing. The UN's watching, the US is watching, so more than likely they're going to try and keep it between the buoys. But imagine that happening in New York City. Oh, we can't control, NYPD can barely keep control of the streets. Gangs have overrun, I don't know, Harlem and Staten Island. I'm just throwing places out there. So we're going to hire you know, Angry Raccoon private military company, and the Angry Raccoon guys are going to go in there and restore order. Well, restoring order might be pretty ugly. They may not necessarily obey constitutional laws, because if it's gotten to that point, there is no government. Who are you going to appeal the constitutional court to? There is no court. So these are really extreme circumstances. I'm going to be watching Haiti very closely. I feel bad for the folks there, because the country's in a complete downward spiral now for decades. But this more recent spiral, this last 5-7 years, has been really horrendous. These are the kind of things you want to prep for. If you have that happen, not only martial law, but private contractors are securing areas at the blessing and behest of the governments. You want to stay off the streets. You don't want to look too well fed, and you don't want to show off anything you don't have to. That's a prime time to hide guns. Not necessarily hide them in your house, but hide them on your person. Don't walk around open if you can't, if you don't have to. These kind of circumstances become very gray, because these guys are going to react as they see fit. Their primary objective, get rid of the gangs. They see you with a gun, even though you may be a legitimate owner. They could technically say, we thought he was part of the gang. That was our bad. Yeah, but you're dead, so not so great. So let's watch Haiti very closely, because this is a microcosm of what does happen when government, society, and the international community all utterly fail a people who have been in desperate need for years, and everything collapses. They have a cholera outbreak, they have gang warfare, and now they've got hired paramilitaries going in, highly trained ones, to deal with those issues, so that they can deal with the hygiene and other issues. Let's see where it goes, but think about those kind of scenarios, because that's a worst case scenario. I would say that's worse than martial law, because soldiers have rules. PMCs? Maybe, maybe not. I'll leave you with those scary thoughts. You guys be safe out there. I'll see you on the next video.